Well, that got our attention. The Federal Reserve today said a December rate hike is a real possibility. In its policy statement, the central bank left interest rates where they are right now, but opened the door to a potential rise later this year, pointing specifically to its next meeting, the last one of 2015. Stocks pulled back initially, only to take off, rising more than 1% by the close. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 198 points to close at 17,779. The Nasdaq rose 65. The S&P 500 notched a 24-point gain. And the yield on the 10-year Treasury rose. Steve Liesman has more on the Fed's assessment of the economy and what it might do next.
Some big changes in the Fed's October statement that suggest a possible rate hike in December. The Fed left interest rates unchanged, but it downgraded its concerns over global economic and financial developments. It's now monitoring those issues rather than saying it's worried about their effects on the U.S. economy and inflation. Second, the Fed downgraded the job market, saying it slowed, even while it upgraded the consumer and business spending, saying they're growing at a solid rate. But here's the big one. The Fed put a December rate hike back in play. The new statement says in determining whether it will be appropriate to raise the target range at its next meeting. That's new language, a clear warning from the Fed to markets to beware of a possible rate hike in December.
I think the committee knows that it's sending a signal by making these changes. So I think you have to think that the odds of a December increase are now a good bit higher than before the meeting. That said, let me just briefly add quickly that there's still a ways to go before we get to that meeting. You still got two labor market reports, a lot of other economic data.
These changes reflect a sense that the Fed went too far in emphasizing the downside risk of global weakness at the September meeting. That prompted markets to overly price out the chance of a December rate hike. Now the Fed, in the new language, has the flexibility to hike. It doesn't mean a December rate hike is a done deal. It does mean the December meeting is a live one where the Fed could hike if the economy goes along pretty much as it's been going. So that means the bar may not be all that high. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Steve Liesman in Washington.